Gibsons are bringing back the 70s. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Guitar Gear Trader. I am Steve, coming at you as always from Nashville, Tennessee, and tonight we're taking a look at a reissue from Gibson, the 70s Les Paul Custom. Before we get into it, do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, share the video with your friends. Numbers are going up, which is great. We want to keep that on that trajectory, and I really appreciate all the support you guys give me. So if you don't mind, please do that. Follow me on Instagram at Guitar Gear Trader as well. So recently, a couple days ago, and I had no idea this was happening, Gibson decided to reissue the Gibson Les Paul Custom 1970s reissue, or 1970s version, whatever you want to call it. And I got really, really excited because I happen to have a real 1970s Gibson Les Paul Custom. So, sorry that I know it was clickbait a little bit, but my Les Paul Custom is an actual 1971, all original, except for the tuners. These are not the correct tuners. But everything else on this guitar is original, and it's from 1971. And when I saw the release, I got really excited, and I wanted one right away. And I'm making this video to see if I should, in fact, get my hands on one of the new reissues and kind of do a comparison of the two guitars, because I don't think they are direct copies or reissues of the actual 1970s Les Paul Customs. Now, if we go through the specs of each, let's go through this one first before I go to the Gibson website. This is a 1971, I guess this would be called a Norland era guitar. So what happened with Les Pauls at the time, they discontinued the Les Paul body as we know it in the 60s. And they started making the SG, the guitar that we know as the SG, and they were labeling that guitar as Les Pauls. This wasn't selling. These guitars were not selling in the 60s, so they discontinued these Les Paul bodies. And for a while, you couldn't get these guitars because they weren't making them anymore. They were replacing them with SGs, solid guitars. That's what they called it. Well, artists of the day, like Eric Clapton and, other famous guitar players, were really wanting the 50s styles Les Pauls again. So there was a demand for them all of a sudden. So they started reissuing them again and bringing them back in the late 60s. I want to say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, 1968 they brought back the Les Pauls like this body shape Les Pauls. And in 71 or 1970, there was a change in ownership of the company, and they started to construct these guitars a little bit differently. So what makes a 70s Les Paul different from, like a 58, 59, 1960 Les Paul? Well, a couple of things. Number one, the bodies are different. So in this era, this is a 3-piece body. Now you can't really see it on the ebony color, but if you were looking at this guitar in person, you'd be able to see it. This is actually a 3-piece body. They call it the pancake body. And what that means is there's 2 pieces of mahogany and a really thin sliver of maple between the 2 pieces of mahogany. I don't know why. You can't see it. If this was one of like the natural wood color ones, or like the tobacco burst or a heritage cherry sunburst color, you'd be able to see a line here. I see it in person, but you really can't see it on the camera. I don't know why they would do this. I don't know how this makes it any cheaper to produce. I'm sure that's why they did it, right? Why else would they change the body construction other than trying to save money? Somehow making two pieces of mahogany with a very, very thin layer of maple in the middle made it cheaper. Maybe they cut less wood that way. Maybe they wasted less mahogany that way. That's the only thing I can think of. The binding would have been the same. Okay, you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ply binding on both sides, which is a Gibson custom, normal spec. You have your ebony fretboard, which is normal spec. You have your block inlays, mother of pearl inlays, which is normal spec. You have your split diamond headstock. The spec for the today, or the new reissue one, is going to be one-piece solid mahogany. And there's also a maple cap on this. This is going to have a maple cap. You're going to have your witch hat knobs. You're going to have your gold hardware for the black, or for the ebony one, or for all of them, I think. Black pick guard. Okay, normally on Les Paul standards, you don't get black appointments. You get like a cream appointment with maybe gold speed knobs or gold top hats. This neck on these guitars is a little bit different too. These are 3-piece maple necks. And again, you can't see it on the camera, but if you were in person, you would be able to see. I don't think you can see it. I don't think you're going to be able to see it. But there are 3 lines here. Okay, and you can see that these necks are made of 3-piece maple. It has a Made in USA stamp on it, so you know it's after 1970. And this serial number is 685240. So they don't have the modern serial number on it yet with the decade 3 number of the day of the year, and then the second number of the decade. So they don't have that yet, but they do have the Made in USA stamp, which indicates that it's after 1970. Also, you have the volute. Okay, these guitars have a volute here, which is like a little different style neck carve, and that was supposed to give the necks of these Les Pauls and all Gibsons, to be honest with you, a little bit extra beef in the back, because Gibson headstocks have a tendency to break. I mean, all guitar headstocks have a tendency to break if you drop them, but that was supposed to give it a little bit more stability there. They got rid of that, I want to say, in the 80s at some point. It makes no difference to the playability of the guitar. It's literally structural. I watched a video on one of these reissues or reviews, and they said it gives you a place to put your thumb when you're doing cowboy chords. That's complete BS. You're not even close to the volute when you're doing cowboy chords. You are very far away from where the volute is when you're doing any type of chord work. So that person is completely making that up. There's nothing there about that. So 3-piece body with sandwich pancake maple sliver in between the mahogany. The volute 3-piece maple neck. I know that the Gibson logo changed as well. There's no dot above the eye in this era of Gibson. I have a 64 reissue SG that has a dot above the eye. Okay, so that it would be made in the 60s. Now, the new ones have different strap locks. I can't say because I'm not the original owner, but these, I'm not sure if they're original or not, and these are just regular circular strap locks. The new ones, or the reissue ones, come with Posi-Lock strap locks, which look like little diamonds. I'm not a big fan of those. I mean, I guess at the time they were probably pretty advanced technologically, because it would hold on to your strap better and it wouldn't slip off. But in today's world with strap locks and things like that, it doesn't work all that well. So let's take a look at the Gibson website and take a look at the new ones. So here is the Gibson website. As soon as you go onto the Gibson website, it says hard rock icon, Gibson Les Paul Custom 70 celebrate 50 years in Nashville with an error correct spec in timeless tone. So let's hit shop now. So the guitar comes in a couple of different colors, and one major thing about this guitar that is different than your typical custom shop is that these guitars are made in the USA factory rather than the custom shop factory. So they automatically become more affordable. So if you look here, this guitar retails direct from Gibson and direct from Sweetwater and Musician's Friend and Guitar Center for $3,099, so $4,000. Your normal Gibson custom shop Les Paul is going to run you, as you see here, $5,500, right? So there's a $1,500 premium between the Ebony custom shop Les Paul Custom and the Gibson Custom 70's, which is made in the USA shop. That's a mouthful, right? So this is called the Gibson Les Paul Custom 70's. This one is just called the Gibson Custom Les Paul Custom, which is a $1,500 premium if you want it built in the custom shop rather than in the USA shop. What I'd like to know is, what are they not doing to the new ones made in the USA factory that is going to be a $1,500 or even more than a $1,500 price difference? What are you not getting for that $1,500? And is it as good a guitar? Are these just standards with fancy inlays? Because that's my fear, right? I really want one of these, and I want one in this color. I want one in this tobacco burst. Looks unbelievable. Like, look at this guitar. This guitar looks fantastic, man. Oh my God. That is a gorgeous guitar, and I want one. I want one really bad. But is it just a standard with fancy inlays and better binding? I don't know. Is it, because you can get a standard for, I think, $27.99 at this point. And if you go to the demo shop, on Reverb, the Gibson demo shop, you can get a standard for $2,100, and they look great. They might not be these particular colors, but is this just a glorified Les Paul standard because it's made in the USA shop? That's kind of what I want to know. So these come in really cool colors. This is the color that everyone's like kind of creaming over. No pun intended, because it's called buttercream. But this is my least favorite of the four colors. If I'm getting a white Les Paul Custom, I want the entire guitar to be white. I don't want the back and sides to be black. I know they call this like a tuxedo model or something like that. I love the buttercream color. I love that faded kind of old white look. But I want that on the entire guitar. If I'm buying a Les Paul Custom, I want that on the entire guitar. That's just my opinion. So that is my least favorite of the colors. The Ebony is obviously, this is one of the most iconic looking guitars ever built, in my opinion. There are very few guitars that look as cool and as badass and as classy all at the same time than this guitar. There's just something about a black Les Paul Custom with gold hardware that is just timeless and classic and heavy metal and rock. It's everything. It covers all the bases. You can play this in a tuxedo. You can play this in a leather jacket. You can play this in anything. It covers all the bases. I absolutely love this color, and that's why I have one. Okay, and I will never, ever get rid of this one, even though it's not easy to play. Okay, but then we have the tobacco burst one, like I said, which is the one that if I do buy this one, it's gonna be this color. And then you have my second to least favorite color, which is wine red. And if this buttercream one was all white, it would be one of my favorites, and the wine red would be my least favorite. Wine red looks cool. It's nice. It's just I'm just tired of seeing that stain, that color, that cherry stain on guitars. It's just not my thing, especially on a Les Paul Custom. I think it brings it down a notch. But let's take a look at the specs. Okay, binding, multiply, top, back, headstock, fingerboard. Okay, so the binding is going to be the same as the true 70s model. The body finish is going to be a gloss nitrocellulose, just like the vintage model, the actual vintage one. Okay, it's going to have a maple top, just like the vintage one did. The body material is going to be mahogany. It's not going to be a pancake body. Does that matter? Who knows, right? Does that little sliver of mahogany in the middle of an actual vintage one give you a little bit more top end? Does it give you a little bit more vibration in the body? Does it affect the tone? The only way I could really find out is if I buy one of these and try to do a comparison. But I don't know if that would be necessarily fair, because this is a vintage guitar that's aged over, 50 years, over 50 years, and maybe it sounds different than it did 50 years ago. The only way to really, I think, put that to the test would be to put it up against a modern Les Paul Custom from the custom shop. Okay, next specs. Fingerboard's going to be ebony, same as this. I don't know about the radius and stuff like that. Fret count 22, inlays mother of pearl, neck material maple, but it's going to be, I think it's a one-piece maple neck. Okay, where this is a three-piece maple neck. Does that make a difference? I'm not sure. Does the fact that it has three pieces of maple make it vibrate or resonate differently than a one-piece maple neck? Not sure. Okay. Profile is a 70s with a volute, so it's supposed to be similar to this. And this neck is very thin. Okay, which I kind of dig 70s necks. I have a 70s 335 as well that has a really thin blade neck. It's not necessarily, this guitar isn't necessarily thin at the nut, but it is thin, from front to back. It's like more like a blade, where my 335 is a very thin nut. Almost feels like a Rickenbacker neck, but flat. Okay. The frets are medium jumbo frets. That's the biggest thing about this original 71 custom, is that these are called fretless wonder frets. And these frets are so low that it almost makes this a little hard to play. Now, this was the only guitar I've ever had that was fretless wonder. So I don't know if it's just they're fretless wonders and they're worn out really low because they've been played too much, or if these are fretless wonders that still have life to them. I'm not really sure, because I haven't played one, back then to see what it was really like. But the frets on this there's almost nothing there. And I brought this in to get refretted from a local guy, and he wanted like $800, and I just didn't have $800 to do it. I have other Les Pauls that I could play. I could play this one in my house. I really want to bring this out and play this with the band. But I'm just afraid that I'm going to be a little bit less accurate than I would be if I had jumbo frets on it. And that's another reason why maybe I buy this guitar. It's not going to replace my R9, because I don't think anything can replace my R9. But that is the thing about this guitar, that I don't play it as much as I should, because I'm worried about the frets, and I'm worried about being accurate on these frets that have very, very low height. Okay, the electronics. The electronics on the reissues are called T-type bridges and T-type neck pickups. I'm not sure what was in original 70s Les Paul Customs. I want to say they were T-types as well, but when I took these out, it just has a patent number sticker on the back. So they are the original pickups, and the pots date back to 1971 as well. So if you know out there what pickups they originally put in 70s Les Pauls, if they were T-type pickups, I have an 80s SG that has tarbacks, but these could be T-type pickups. I don't know what to look for with a T-type pickup, what it would have on any markings on it, but this has a patent, a serial number patent sticker on it, on the back of them. Both of them do. So they don't say T-type or anything like that on them. They just have a patent number sticker on the back. So they might be, and I think they were going for that vintage kind of pickup when they were making these new reissues. Okay, same thing with the output and controls, all the same stuff there. Hardware specs. Nashville Tune-O-Matic bridge. You can have gold hardware, black mounting rings. Okay, all that should be the same. And they have two, like it says here, strap buttons, 2 posi locks. Okay, this does not have posi locks, and it makes me wonder if these were the original strap buttons or not. I'm not 100% sure if these are the original strap buttons. They have wear on them, like they're older, but that doesn't mean anything. Okay, that doesn't really mean anything. There is some paint missing around the strap lock or the strap button on the bottom, so maybe these weren't the originals. Maybe somebody changed them. I was under the impression that the posi locks came in the 80s, but I could completely be wrong, because the only guitar that I have a 71 ES335, like I said, does not have posi locks on it. But maybe those are changed as well. But the only one I do have posi locks on is my 82 SG. Okay, and the machine heads are Grover automatic tuners with keystone buttons. These are Schallers. These are German-made Schaller tuning pegs, and you can see the holes where the original ones were. So these are definitely not the original tuners. That's for sure. And that, from my understanding, was the only real difference, or the thing that wasn't original in this particular guitar. But I want this one. So I have a musician's friend credit card that currently has a 0 balance. I also have the Gibson credit card, which currently has a 0 balance. So I got some room to play with. Gibson is offering 24 months interest free, which would come out to like $170 a month for 2 years, interest free. Musician's Friend is offering 48 months interest free, which would be like $75 a month, which is really, really doable. The thing is, do I need it? I don't need it. I have an actual 70s one right here. That sounds killer. It really does. I wish I could plug it in for you, but everybody's sleeping right now. It's 11:30 at night, and I don't feel like getting out a whole bunch of amps and mics and doing all that kind of stuff with it. So if I do get the other one, I'll do a shootout between the two guitars, and I'll mic stuff up properly and give you a real good in-depth review on that. But I just don't know, man. I don't know if I should, because I kind of fear that if I like the other one better and I can play it more because the frets are normal size, that I'm gonna want to sell this. And I don't want to sell this. I love this thing. Black Les Paul Customs are the coolest thing in the world, But if I sell this, I could get the new black reissue one, right? And it'll look just like, but this got mojo to it. The binding's yellowed on it. It's got some wear on the back. It's not perfect. I love that it's not perfect. What would you do? What would you do? But I think, man, I couldn't believe when I first saw it on Anderton's. I went to work on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, whenever these came out, were released, and Anderton's had their video up, and it was 8 in the morning here in Tennessee, and I was at work eating my breakfast and drinking my coffee, and I was like, what is this? And they make everything sound cool and make everything sound awesome, because Danish Pete's a freaking killer guitar player. This guitar is great. It sounds so good. But what do you think? Would you buy one? If you would buy one, what color would you get? Do you like the tobacco one? I'm obviously not going to get an ebony one. And I really don't like the white one. If the white one was all white and it was buttercream, it was like that vintage white, off-white, I think I would get that, because it would resemble this 70s white Falcon I have. This used to be pearl white, but now it's kind of like an off-white now. I love 70s guitars. That's the only ones I can afford. Can't afford the 60s ones, really. They're too much money, but the 70s ones I can afford. And would you get it, considering it's not made in the custom shop? Right? It doesn't come with a custom shop case. It comes with the regular Gibson USA case, which kind of bothers me too. Because if you're paying for a custom, you kind of want all the custom accoutrement right? But you do get the cool binding on both sides. You do get the cool split diamond thing up there, inlay on the headstock. But it's made in the USA. What are they doing, or what are they not doing in the USA that is justifying a $1,500 reduction in price? And that's $1,500. That's the cheapest Les Paul Custom you can buy out of the custom shop. There are higher ones. The white ones are more money. The white ones, just because they're white paint, makes it more money. I think it's an extra $500 just to get white ones. Maybe that's why they didn't spray all the sides of it white, and maybe that's why it's not pure white. Maybe that's why it's buttercream, right? Because they make a lot of mistakes, apparently. It's hard to paint these guitars white, like pure white. So, and they're going to be heavy. This thing weighs a ton. This is one of the heaviest guitars I own. And supposedly the reissues that they made are not light either. And do I buy it from Gibson, or do I buy it from Musician's Friend? I would have to go through Musician's Friend, because they're going to give me an extra 2 years of no interest to pay it off. That's almost a no-brainer. But I want to buy it from Sweetwater, and only because they let you pick the guitar, right? They give you pictures of all the guitars they have in stock, and they let you pick the one you want. Musician's Friend's not going to do that. Musician's Friend's just going to send me one. But I want to buy it from Gibson because I have a feeling they'll set it up really well. But then what if they put it on Reverb's demo shop, and then I can get it for cheaper than $4,000? I can probably get it for $1,000 off, but then I wouldn't get interest-free payments. Do you see the predicament I'm in here, people? Help me out. What would you do? Tell me in the comments. I would appreciate it. I probably don't need it. I probably shouldn't buy it, which means I should probably buy it from Sweetwater, because they'll take it back if they'll take it back if I don't want it anymore, because they're awesome like that. I don't know if Musician's Friend will, but you let me know what you think. I really want one. I want one of those tobacco sunburst ones. I think they look really cool. I think it'll look badass. But you tell me. Follow me. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram at Guitar Gear Trader. Hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Interact with me. Send me a message. Peace out, everybody. Have a great weekend.